Hello everybody, I'm Elisa, or you might know me as Forbidden Figurines, and welcome to Only Belts. Today I would like to address a couple of things that have been on my mind recently. And first of all, why am I making this video? Recently I have asked you guys if you have any questions for me because I was planning to do a live stream. But 2 weeks ago, right after I dropped off WWE Championship belts in Massachusetts and went skiing for 2 days in New Hampshire, after I came back, I found out I have a COVID again. So I was in no physical or mental state to do anything at all. So that threw me off my schedule with projects that I was planning to do in those past 2 weeks. But now I'm back and I feel much better. I still don't have the same level of energy. So main reason why I'm doing this video is because I want to answer a couple of questions and also elaborate on pre-order issue. So I guess I'll start with pre-order first and then we'll transition to Q&A. So I've been doing this pre-order system for a little over than a year now, and you're not gonna believe how many messages I get about people trying to pre-order belts that are not available anymore. And I'm gonna be honest with you, some emails I get are not even inquiring about belts that are available, but literally just a list of belts that that person wants. Sometimes those are even belts I have never even made before. And a literal question of how much is it? So for those people and people who lived under a rock for the past year, I want to make it clear I do not have any belts available anymore. Belts are only available for pre-order for 2 weeks whenever I post about it on my Instagram. So that's a good idea in general to go and subscribe to Forbidden Figurines Instagram right now if you haven't yet, for some reason that I don't know, to get all the updates on pre-orders. And again, it's just one belt at a time that normally takes me a month from start to finish if I don't have any production issues. Information on the website is pretty self-explanatory. It says approximate time of when it's gonna ship and how it's gonna look like. I always try to post either a picture of the belt if I've made it before or a 3D model of the main plate. So that being said, current new 2024 version of TNA belt is on pre-order till February 11th of 2024. So after that, on February 11th, you won't be able to get it because usually what happens that I close pre-order on the website, count how many orders I have, and then I go and finalize 3D model and I get to printing. So I don't print too many belts or too few. That's why also occasionally I would have some leftover belts after we ship the batch. But recently, due to numbers of orders, complexity of the belts, and time invested in their production, we don't really have any extras because I've been trying to make just enough to ship out. I obviously have to make a couple extras each time in case something gets fucked up during shipping, because we still lose belts. Sometimes packages get lost, damaged, but it hasn't been a common practice for us to sell a lot of extra belts recently. I always have parts left over after I make a batch of belts, but the main problem is I always make as many belts as I've made enough straps for. And with the new process that I use to manufacture and emboss straps, it takes quite some time, and sometimes it's really hard to put everything aside, put all your main projects on the side just to produce those 10 extra belt straps that I need to make extra belts. But I still hope I'll get to it because I have plates laying around doing no business at all, and I hope I would be able to do it very soon. And I do understand that my price point might be too high for some people in current economy, but I haven't yet figured out the cheaper way to make belts of that quality for lesser money. I tend to use the best materials that I can find on the market that will work for me. And luckily, every other person on Instagram makes belts now. So if you look around, you most likely would find someone who makes belts for $25, but it would also be a slightly different belt. So now let's answer some questions. And before I do that, I just have to say one thing. 30% of messages that I got from you guys were not even questions. It was either a statement or a request, but it wasn't a question. And I have to say thank you for all your kind words I've received in those messages, because sometimes they really make my day, and it really pushes me to deliver you the best product that I possibly can. Because the pressure to disappoint you guys with a bad product is always real. No matter how successful the belts I've made before were, there is always a chance to drop a ball again. I would have to pass on certain questions because they became irrelevant over time, like for example WWE belt questions or pre-order questions, because I already talked about it earlier. First question. Would it be possible to maybe just buy the files and print the plates ourselves? I do not sell STL files that I use for belts that I make. First of all, because I make them specifically to my liking, and it has to do everything with the way I paint them. I also don't feel comfortable selling STL files because in the end they usually end up being all over internet, and I don't want anything to do with that. Second question, is there a belt you would refuse to make? Yes. Spinner belts and $1 million championship belt, because I simply don't know how to make it functional. Any chance you will be making Daniel Bryan hemp belt? Well, I would probably have to add that belt to the list of the belts that I refuse to make. Any chance you would sell belt tips for those who purchase version 1 belts? So I assume you're referring to the belts I used to make before with machine stitching. The problem with that it's actually impossible to glue belt tip on top of that stitching for it to be flush with the belt itself. So I think it would be impossible. And also the other issue with that is I need to know the exact height of the belt strap to a millimeter to be able to manufacture a belt tip for that one particular belt that's right size. And it seems like a lot of work for what it is, so I guess my answer would be no. How long does it take you to finish a belt from start to finish? Well, if we're talking about one singular belt, I would say about a week with all the drying times. If it's a batch, that usually takes up to a month of constant on and off work every day. That's it for today, and hopefully I answered some of your questions. There are more questions left because I know you guys love me so much. I got a lot of good questions, so hopefully I can address some of them in the next video. Please subscribe to this channel, hit the bell button if you're interested to stay up to date with all my projects. And I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.